We'd like to start the regular press conference by Minister Hayashi. Minister, the floor is yours. Thank you. I would like to share with you one point. From April 16th until the 18th, the G7 Foreign Ministers meeting in Karuizawa, Nagano will be conducted. As the Russian aggression into Ukraine is shaking the foundation of the international order, international community is facing a turning point in history. Now, at this meeting, we will lead the discussion as the G7 president and would like to demonstrate very strongly to the world the resolute determination of the G7 that we will firmly reject any attempts to unilaterally change the status quo through force and the threat of use of nuclear weapons as being indicated by Russia. And would like to demonstrate the very strong determination of the G7, our determination to safeguard international order based on rule of law. Now, on top of that, not only in relation to coordination pertaining to the situation in Ukraine, as this is the G7 Foreign Ministers meeting, which will be conducted in Asia, in relation to the coordination of the G7 for free and open Indo-Pacific, we would also like to lead the discussion in a fair manner as the president. Thank you. That is all from my side.
We'll be entertaining questions. If you're called upon, please state your affiliation and name before you state your question. Iwasawa-san, NHK, please. Iwasawa from NHK. In relation to the G7, the foreign ministers meeting, North Korea has launched a missile which is potentially an ICBM type of missile, and it's a solid fuel, a fast type of a missile, and it's the first test of launching this missile. That is what we understand. And this launch took place right before the G7 meeting. Could I have your impressions on these? And regarding nuclear missile development, how do you intend to lead the discussions concerning this point? On the 13th, there was a launch of a missile, potentially an ICBM, and the North Korean announcement regarding this is what I'm aware of. I'd like to refrain from commenting on each one of these. With unprecedented frequency and form, North Korea is repeating a launch of ballistic missiles, and for security of our country, it's a very serious and imminent threat. And for the region and for the international society, this is a threat to peace and safety, and this is absolutely unacceptable. On our part, as a UNNC member and as the country having the presidency of the G7, we wish to cooperate with the international community to proceed with the complete implementation of UNSC resolution, and we will aim to denuclearize North Korea. With regard to the G7 foreign ministers meeting, with regard to outcome documents, I should not like to predict at this point, but we should, as the presidency, we'd like to lead the discussions and confirm coordination between the G7.
Abe-san from Yomiuri Shimbun, please. Thank you. Abe from Yomiuri. I want to ask about the G7 Foreign Ministers meeting, if I may. Now, in 2016, when Japan was the G7 president, I think the side events have been reduced significantly compared to the past presidencies. What is the objective? And also, why did you choose Karuizawa as the venue? Yes, thank you. The G7 Foreign Ministers meeting. This is a very important meeting in the run-up to the G7 summit meeting in Hiroshima. And of course, we need to develop the personal trust among the G7 people. We also need to develop the confidence for the team, G7 team as well. Now, in May of last year, we held a meeting in Weissenhaus in Germany, which is filled with rich natural environment. So in such an environment, the G7 ministers were able to come together to engage in very frank discussions, and we had very good experience of enjoying a very lovely atmosphere. So bear that in mind. We believe this is one of the reasons why we selected Karuizawa as the venue. And that being the case, any side events outside the venue have not been scheduled as a result. So I'm sure that, as was the case in the previous Germany meeting, we'll be able to have very good discussion among the foreign ministers in a very rich natural environment. Thank you.
Higuchi-san, Chugoku Shimbun, please. Higuchi, Chugoku Shimbun. In relation to the previous question on the G7 foreign ministers meeting, as explained at the outset, Russia is repeating nuclear intimidation as the country that has the only country experiencing an atomic bomb. Do you intend to communicate with regard to the scourge of nuclear use? Could we have your views on this? With regard to Russia through invasion into Ukraine, the international security environment is becoming much tougher. And that leads to deepening fragmentation of the international society regarding nuclear disarmament. And through intimidation by Russia, through nuclear weapons, the road toward a nuclear-free world is becoming increasingly tougher. But because we are in such an environment, we have to be practical and in promoting a world without nuclear weapons. We should be steady in making progress. With regard to the Hiroshima summit, since the bomb was dropped, atomic bomb was dropped in Hiroshima, for 77 years, nuclear weapons have not been used. And this history should not be underestimated. We could not accept that. And this is a message that we want to strongly announce to the world. I would like to leverage this opportunity of the G7 foreign ministers meeting personally, so that toward progress toward nuclear disarmament, I'd like to deepen discussions there.
Kasarada-san from Kyoto. Thank you, Kasarada from Kyoto. I want to ask about the G7 foreign ministers meeting. Now, in relation to approach toward China, which is intensifying its military activities, there seems to be a gap between the position of various countries. At the G7 foreign ministers meeting, what would you like to bear in mind as you try to enhance coordination at the G7? Well, thank you. The military trend of China represents a very serious concern for Japan as well as to the international community. If we are to secure peace and stability for Japan as well as for international community, and we are to enhance the international order based on rule of law, I believe they represent a serious strategic challenge. I believe we need to respond, combining the comprehensive national power of Japan as well as coordination with allied nations and countries with whom we share common values. Now, peace and stability of Taiwan Straits is indispensable, not just for security of Japan, but also for the safety and prosperity of the international community as a whole. Our consistent position has been that issues pertaining to Taiwan should be peacefully resolved through dialogue. That is our expectation. That has been our consistent position. As far as this point is concerned, I believe that in relation to U.S. and G7, I believe the importance of peace and stability of the Taiwan Straits has been understood. And on top of that, at the upcoming G7 foreign ministers meeting in Nagano from April 16th up until the 18th, we're still making final coordination for the final agenda. But with regard to diplomatic issues faced by the international community, we hope that between the G7 foreign ministers meeting, they will be able to have very frank and candid exchange of views in an in-depth manner. In any event, bearing in mind that this is the G7 foreign ministers meeting, which will be held in Asia, in relation to the G7 coordination pertaining to free and open Indo-Pacific, we hope that as the chair and the president will be able to lead the discussion in a firm manner. Thank you.
We'd like to close the press conference at this juncture. Thank you very much.